week after week, as she, has done well and established herself as a really good player on tour, they all come out to support her. And so I think we saw that in Australia when it was kind of overcrowded. They put her on a too small of a...
Jessica Pegula has succeeded. The WTA Dubai Open has been won by her. And while commemorating one of the greatest triumphs, she accomplished something in her job that reveals all about her personality. She made advantage of her position. She made advantage of the attention that comes with being awarded a distinguished title by directing the discussion away from herself and onto someone she feels merits far more respect and care than she has been getting. She did not mince words while discussing Alex Eala. Pegula made it very apparent that, in her opinion, Alex Eala is more than simply a bright young athlete attempting to establish herself on the circuit. In every sense of the term, she is a rising star. She has already repeatedly shown that she belongs at the top level of this discipline. Here's the issue, however. Pegula is not going to remain silent about the WTA's apparent lack of consideration for her. She brought up a topic that many people have been considering for a while. She discussed her own Miami Open match versus Eala. She remembered being very taken aback by what she saw when she entered that match. The mood that welcomed her was not what she had anticipated. There was a tremendous amount of energy there. The audience was huge, enthusiastic, boisterous, and totally focused on each and every topic. Pegula called it crazy. And she meant it in the most positive manner imaginable. She wasn't whining about it. She was in awe of it as she saw a young athlete that day who had already amassed a fan base that most well-known celebrities could only imagine.
Amazing. I mean, I played her when she kind of broke out last year in Miami, and I'm from there, and the whole crowd was against me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, where do these people come from?
Furthermore, this phenomena was not limited to Miami. Pegula was rather particular regarding this. She said that Alex Eala has continuously garnered the most audience support of anybody on the circuit, whether it was in Miami, the Australian Open, or Dubai. People come to see her. People travel for her. The opportunity to see her compete draws large crowds of people. Such magnetism is uncommon. Tennis has been attempting for years to create that type of relationship between a player and her fan base in various areas. And this young lady from the Philippines has already succeeded on her own, spontaneously, organically, because to the sheer power of her skill, character, and narrative. However, the WTA has persisted in scheduling Eala on smaller courts in spite of all she has shown and contributed to the sport. Furthermore, Pegula considers this to be insulting in addition to being confusing. When you sit down with it, what she said about the Australian Open in particular is very hard to grasp. Consider the circumstances. According to many sources, the player was drawing some of the largest crowds the competition has ever seen. Because Alex Eala was competing, admirers were traveling from all around Asia, including the Philippines. The WTA had put her on a court that was just too small to accommodate all of the spectators who had come to see something unique and to support their star.
It was Eala is the match that I was looking at, and there was people like wrapped around the stadium just trying to get in, which is pretty crazy. And I mean, it's cool to see and it's exciting, but obviously, for fan experience, I don't know, because I'm not living that same experience, but hopefully the event kind of continues to grow with.
Outside, people were standing. They were holding out in endless hints, trying to somehow navigate the doors and see the game in progress. A large number of them never entered. They had traveled that far, and some of them had invested a lot of time and money to get there. And they found themselves watching a game they couldn't see and listening to a crowd they couldn't join outside a stadium. After that, Eala was removed. And the only reward for those supporters who had sacrificed so much to be there was the recollection of waiting in a line that never moved quickly enough. When Pegula addressed this, she didn't hold back. She described it as disrespectful to Eala, the supporters, and the momentum she has been gaining in this sport. And the fact that she is not an outsider making these observations from a distance is what makes her remarks so powerful. She is a player who has played on those courts, seen that atmosphere firsthand, and felt the intensity in the room when competing against Eala. She is speaking from personal experience when she states that something is amiss. Additionally, she went above and above by disclosing information that ought to have made headlines. She claimed to have been informed that the Australian Open had attracted its largest ever audience, with Alex Eala playing a major role in the record-breaking attendance. The greatest audience in the event's history, and the player most one of the ground's smaller courts was assigned to the person in charge of that energy. That isn't an oversight in scheduling. It's not a good statement, but it is one nevertheless. Furthermore, Pegula is not the only one who says this. With each new event, the voices advocating for Alex Eala have been more loud and noticeable. Novak Djokovic, who has more Grand Slam victories than any other player in tennis history and has first-hand knowledge of every aspect of professional tennis, stepped out and made his opinions known. He referred to Alex Eala as the best tennis player to have come out of the Philippines. He acknowledged that the way her court assignments and schedule have been handled has contributed to the challenges she has encountered throughout tournaments, and he added she deserves all the respect in the world. The topic changes when a player of Djokovic's caliber speaks out and says that. This is more than simply ardent supporters venting their frustration. This is the game's legends pointing out a trend that they don't like.
Things like that happen. I mean, you could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through. Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest.
Was one of the most memorable moments in her match against Igos Fiat. In recent years, the women's game has seen dominating players. Eala was gaining momentum during a crucial part of the match when an official approached her about things in her bag. Nothing about the timing, the disruption it caused, or the way it broke her rhythm at a crucial moment made sense unless you were prepared to entertain the possibility that it wasn't an accident. But above all things, this is what this evidence shows. Alex Eala is here to stay. She has become stronger as a result of every challenge she has faced. Her tail and fan following have only grown as a result of every dubious call, minor court ruling, and scheduling choice that looked to be intended to undermine her. She is becoming more significant than politics. Despite the tour's seeming unwillingness to give her the platform she deserves, she is growing in popularity. It is noticed by Jessica Pegula. Djokovic notices. Coco notices. And every time Serena takes the court, millions of admirers watch it happen. She may continue to play on tiny courts for the WTA. However, nothing about Alex Eala seems insignificant. Not her ability, not her battle, and most definitely not her prospects.